everyone, my name is Elizabeth, this is Frizzy Lizzie Stitches, and you're watching Flosstube number 80. Hi everyone, today is September 7th, 2025, and I'm back with another update. It's been about 4 weeks, I think, since my last video. And I, truth be told, don't really have a lot of variety to show because I've been like zeroed in on mainly one project, which you'll see. But I do have 4 cross stitch and 1 knitting projects to show today. And then I do have a book to talk about at the end. And what else? Oh, I do have a piece of haul to share. And that's kind of the gist of what you'll see today. Oh, and I do have an update on my sister's t-shirt quilt as well, so we'll talk about that too. So let's just jump right into cross stitch. I'm actually wearing my first project. So I made these Stardew Valley chicken earrings. I'm going to the Stardew Valley Symphony of Seasons concert in a couple weeks, and I really wanted something Stardew Valley to wear. So I cross-stitched 2 little chickens on some plastic canvas. I did 14 count perforated plastic and stitched it. I did 3 strands because since it is like a pixel art, I wanted it to be very graphic. And then I finished it with some brown felt on the back, and then I did like a, I guess like a whip stitch around the whole chicken to kind of create like that border, I guess. And then I like put a jump ring through the top hole and attached it to this little, I think these are called lobster claw earrings. But yeah, so I am stoked with how it turned out. I did make sure to get like the stainless steel ones because I don't want them to like tarnish or get gross over time. So I'm hoping that that will work out. Otherwise, I could obviously just replace the earring part if need be, but I think they'll work out really well. And I think they turned out so cute. So I'm super excited to wear these to the concert and super excited that I got that done. So I did the stitching for those, let's see, I started and finished on the same day. That was August the 23rd. And then I FFO'd them like yesterday. So yeah, anyway, that was my first project. Project number 2 is gonna be, let's do my new start. So I have been wanting to start this project since earlier this year. And this is Sally Spencer by Birds of a Feather, which was once out of print but has since been remastered / re-released by Colorado Cross Stitcher. Yeah. And so this is what Sally Spencer looks like. And so as soon as I saw that that was re-released, I snagged it up. And my friend Brijin recently finished this, and so she actually had leftover Vicky Clayton silks, so she let me have those so that I could stitch this with some beautiful silks. And then the fabric that I'm using is 36 count fabric flare linen in the color Cafe au Lait, and I did not iron anything, so but this is what my project looks like. So I started this on August 29th. This was Labor Day weekend. I started this kind of in ode to Sampler September. And I did stitch on this until it got to 25%, which was just over 1,600 stitches. There are a few modifications that I've made. So the first one that you might notice on the chart is there's like a bunch of initials scattered around the entire piece. And I have changed those to be initials, like the first and middle initial of women in my family. So far I've only done one, which is my sister, Mary Catherine. And so I'm excited to sprinkle in the rest of my mom, grandma, aunt, cousin, etc. The other thing is obviously it says Sally Spencer because that's who stitched this, but I recharted it and I'm gonna put my name, I'm gonna put Anna Elizabeth. So that'll be really fun. And then the other thing that I'm doing is in the chart, all of these numbers at the top are the same color except for the number 8. But I changed it so that the 3 and the 0 are the other color. And then there's also a year on here, I believe. Yes, at the very bottom. That says like 1820 something, but I'm gonna change that to say 2026 because I'm planning to finish this project next year, and next year I will be turning 30. So that's why I made the 3 and the 0 the other color. So anyway, that's kind of my whole plan with this is for it to be like my 30 years old sampler. I don't know. But anyway, those are my plans for the rest of the project, but I'm really loving how this is coming out. I am doing 1 strand over 2. Typically on 36, I like to do 2 strands, but because I'm using Brijin's leftover floss, number 1, there's only enough floss to do 1 strand anyway. But also this linen, even though it is 36 count, it feels like a tight 36. So I think it would have been kind of uncomfortable to stitch with 2 strands, just because it feels tighter than usually the 30, most of the 36 count fabrics I have are either Bestitch Me or Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers, and both of those just feel a little looser than this fabric. But yeah, I think the coverage looks great and it's been really fun to stitch on so far. And I probably won't pull this, I'm not going to prioritize pulling this back out again this year, just because, as I'll talk about later, I have a bunch of other plans to do this year. But I'm not gonna, my birthday's in January, so I'm not gonna make it a goal to have it finished by my birthday because that's unrealistic. But I just want to make sure that it's finished sometime next year. So that is Sally Spencer by Birds of a Feather. All right, and the next 2 projects I'm going to show are whips that you've seen before. This one was a new start in my last video, and that is Meow Block Party, or Block Party Meow. I'm not sure which, but it's hands-on design. There we go. It is a little square cushion with like cats all over it, and I do have, it came with the piece of wool for the square, and then I did also purchase the pins, so I have everything that I need to when it comes to fully finishing it. But obviously I gotta finish the stitching first. So this is, all right, this is what my, oh, I guess I should show, this is what it would have looked like in my last update, and then this is what it looks like now. So I didn't do too much. Let's see, I did a whopping 174 stitches. But to be fair, I started this, let's see, I started it on August 5th, and then I would have, so I probably, and I think I filmed like 3 days after that. So then I started my job, and then it was kind of, I was in a weird space where it was like, I didn't really know, like figuring out how much time I was gonna have to do stuff after work and whatnot. So I was trying to stitch on this after work or before work, and it just, I wasn't getting a lot of progress. And also, this isn't a great project to try to do that with because there are so many color changes. But anyway, I think I basically like, I think the 174 stitches was probably just like this cat, some of these paws, and like I kind of just went over this way. But it's really cute. I really like it. It's gonna, this is on my Sweet 16 board, so the plan is to finish this year. we'll see. I'll talk about plans later, but this is 28 count linen from Color and Cotton in the color Nigeria, I think. Some weird word that I'm not quite sure how to pronounce, but that's what it looks like. And I am using a custom Color and Cotton conversion that I put together when I visited the store last October. And yeah, it looks really cute and I can't wait to work on it some more. Okay, my last cross stitch project might come as a shock to you, but I did pull out Castle Homecoming. This was a project that was part of a WIP exchange program that me and my friends did. So a lot of the progress that has been made on this project this year has actually been put in by my friends, Cam, Brijin, and Rachel, who I'll have linked down below in case you want to check any of them out. And I decided I needed to pull this back out because my goal for this project for this year is to get to 50%. And after my friends got it back to me, I had like 1,400 stitches left to get it to 50%. So between yesterday and today, I've been trying to work on that. So this is what the project is gonna look like. And then this is what it would have looked like when I got it back from the swap. And then this is what my project looks like now. So I came over here and started working on this adorable dragon. He definitely reminds me of Pete's Dragon, that Disney cartoon. That's what he reminds me of. But anyway, I did fill in like a little bit of this knight's hat, and then I did like a little bit of this brown just to get over to the dragon. So that's what I've been working on yesterday and today, and that was 881 stitches. So I have about 500 stitches left to get to 50%, and then this project will be done for the year. Details. This is 40 count Valor by Picture This Plus, and I'm stitching it 1/2 with all the called for DMC, and then there's 2 Classic Colorworks that are called for, but yeah. So that's what it's looking like so far. It's really cute, and I like seeing Frosted Pumpkin on 40 count just is even more precious because it just makes it tinier. But anyway, so that's how that is coming along. This is the corner edge of this side. So after I finish in the dragon, my next plan will probably be to like fill in all this stuff, but I think 500 stitches should finish out the dragon for me, hopefully. The belly, I'm sure, is a lot of stitches, but I don't necessarily know how many that is. So yeah. Anyway, that is my Castle Homecoming. All right, so those were all of my cross stitch projects. Now I'm gonna show you my knitting, which I have one project, and that is my Advent blanket. So last year at Christmas time, I had gotten the Ruby and Roses Advent, and I've been knitting that Advent up this year into the Anthology Throw by Helen Stewart. And this project has been so fun, and mainly because like it doesn't take too long to knit up 20 grams of yarn. So every time I'd finish a color, it felt like more exciting to like keep working on the project. But now I have knit all of the 24 mini skeins, and I'm currently working with the main skein color, which is this beautiful like cool gray base with like insane amounts of like pink, teal, blue, purple, pukey green speckles. So super pretty. This is called Villager, and it was like the main skein for the Advent, but also was her like special Christmas colorway that she had listed up for pre-order or sale or whatever at Christmas, like after the Advent had wrapped up. So anyway, this is where the blanket is so far. This little marker here is where I was last time. So it looks like I added in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mini skeins, and then I've started, like I said, on the last color. So this is what it's looking like. And then right here in this like bright green section is where the chevron pattern starts for the border of the blanket. So I am on row 207 out of 212, and then there's the cast off round. I did make my blanket bigger than the pattern called for. So you might be able to tell, but about right here is where I did the increase. In the pattern, you're supposed to start the border right after that final increase. But for me, I decided to repeat the eyelet pattern one more time so that I could fit all of my mini skeins in there without, I think I was gonna have like 2 left over if I followed the pattern. So anyway, I just repeated it one time, and then like half of this neon green, and then the final color, this like turquoise teal, ended up being the last 2 mini skeins that bled into the border section of this blanket. And then I've probably knit about 20 grams of the big color, and I have what, like 5 rounds left, and then the cast off. So definitely gonna have like plenty of yarn to finish that out. I was thinking that I was gonna have enough of this to make a pair of shorty socks after, but I might be mistaken. There might not be quite enough to make socks with after, but I'm not really beat up about that. I have plenty of sock yarn that I can make other socks, or make socks with other yarn. So, but regardless, I think I will add this to my sock tribute blanket, even though it's not gonna be a pair of socks. It likely won't be a pair of socks. But anyway, this is what it's looking like. And I am so excited for this to be done so I can like actually stretch it out. But there's the center of my blanket there. Piper's trying to get in the room. I don't know if you can hear her. But yeah, so I did find a couple other people on Ravelry who made the same project with the same yarn, but they did it differently than I've done it, whether they did it in the same order that the advent went in, because I started mine with day 15, and then someone else just like didn't even use all the mini skeins, and they like did their own random order. So I'll maybe see if I can put up pictures of those here. But yeah, I thought it was really cool to see somebody else make the same project with the same yarn and it still look very different. So anyway, that is my anthology throw. Hopefully when you see it in the next video, it will be done. Okay, I've let her in. This is the time of day, I think it's like, yeah, it's about 4 o'clock. This is the time of day where she gets extra affectionate because in about 2 hours, she will become a food demon and beg for her dinner. But right now, she's being really cute and sweet. Are you purring? I hear your little motor. Yeah. Oh, this is a good girl. Anyway, okay, so that was my knitting. I'm gonna touch on my sister's t-shirt quilt. I'm not gonna bring it over here because it is like, I'm not gonna be able to hold it up and you see it well. I will grab the backing fabric real quick. So I'm gonna put a picture up here of the quilt all sewn together. So I think last time we talked, I had finished cutting all the shirts and I was working on laying them out in a collage to like determine how I was gonna sew them together. So that took a lot of creative puzzling because I had to insert some shirts that were solid to fill in some of the gaps that I was having. So anyway, got that done. Then I sewed it all together, which was also puzzling because since it is a collage style, not all of the corners are like perfect straight lines. There were a couple instances where I had to do kind of like a zigzag. I took a few progress pictures while I was sewing it together, so I'll see if I can put those up as well, and kind of so you can kind of see like the different sections. I had to like sew it together in kind of quadrants, and then I had one last weird jagged edge to like sew it up the middle. So anyway, the quilt top is done. I'm very excited, and I ordered the backing fabric, which my sister picked out. She was in 80 Pi, Alpha Delta Pi, and so she wanted some like something that matched the colors. And this is like a hydrangea pattern from, who designed this? Robert Kaufman? Oh, that's the person who prints it. But anyway, I'll see if I can, where does it, I think it says on the cell, it's kind of hard when you have a cat in your lap bumping your hand. What is the, oh, Hydrangea Grace, a flower house collection is what it says. But anyway, so now I was sorely mistaken. I had told my sister to pick out a 108 so that I could just order one piece of fabric and not have to piece together the back, because this quilt is measuring like 72 by 88. And I didn't even think to double check the description before I click order. And so I ordered the fabric and then it came in and it was only 43 inches and I was like, darn it. So then I had to order it again. So now I have two 3-yard cuts of the 43 inch backing. So I need to sew the two pieces together. I'm looking at the other one on the table over there. Sew these two together so that I can bundle it up to and send it out to be long armed. I did find a really pretty like diamond shaped pantograph that I'm gonna use because again, diamonds are like part of the whole 80 Pi aesthetic. So yeah, anyway, I'm really excited about that. I do still need to get the binding, which I'm gonna do some navy blue gingham for that. So just gonna need to order that. And yeah, I do want to stitch like, I'm gonna do basically backstitch, like handmade for Mary Catherine by Elizabeth or something like that. So that I can attach it to the inside or like the back side of the quilt as like a quilt tag or whatever. But anyway, I'm very excited that I got that done before I started work. So that was really good because there's no way I would have gotten it done after the fact, after starting work, because I've just been really busy like trying to figure out my new routine, like what I have time to do. So yeah, anyway, I think that's all I have to say about the quilt top. Okay, so next up is haul. Piper's still just being extra lovey. Extra lovey. Okay, so I had ordered this back in maybe April or May, but this is the storyboard collection from Ruby and Roses. And the entire collection is gorgeous. And I didn't want to order yarn and not know what I was gonna make with it. Because in the past, like if I like a collection, I would just pick out a couple sock sets. But I really just liked everything in this collection, and like while she was releasing the pictures, there was mini skeins in like every single post, and I was like, maybe she's gonna do like a whole mini skein collection, and sure enough, she did. So I was like, perfect. So I got the whole mini skein set of the storyboard collection. So these are all the colors that were released in that collection, and these are just 20 gram fingering weight mini skeins of all the colors. So I'm obsessed with all of them. They are all beautiful like individually, but they somehow just all look incredible together as well. Do not knock my drink over, thank you. So yeah, so then I was like trying to think what I was gonna do with all these mini skeins, because obviously I've been working on this anthology throw all year. I don't necessarily want to do another one of those. So I've decided that I'm going to do a Battenberg blanket. And that is a crochet pattern. I can't remember who made it, but I will have it linked down below. I'll pop a picture up here of what the Battenberg looks like. But it's basically like a checkerboard blanket where you have a main color and then you have a bunch of colorful other colors. She is something else. Go away. Thank you. So yeah, I will not be starting this though until I finish my stripe pipe. and I'm not gonna finish my stripe pipe until I finish this advent blanket. So anyway, but I do have these beautiful yarns in my possession and they're gorgeous. So pretty. Like, look at that. I love that neon yellow. I love this one right here. And this like Barbie combo. And then like the light version of the Barbie over here. Anyway, it's beautiful. So that is a new addition to my stash and will be a project in the somewhat near future. Okay, so that is my haul. Now it's time to talk about plans. So I already said a few of them. Number one, I want to finish my advent blanket. It's so close to being done and I want the finished product. I'm ready to move on from that project. Hi, Piper. And then as far as knitting is concerned, after I finish my advent blanket, I want to start refocusing on my stripe pipe sweater, and I want to be able to get that done. Obviously, I live in Texas now and it's freaking hot all the time. So the likelihood of me having the ability to wear that sweater and not sweat is very slim. But I still want to get it done regardless, because instead of wearing a coat outside, I can just wear a tank top under my sweater and then maybe I'll really sweat a little bit on the coldest day of the year, but we will see. So anyway, I want to get that done. And then I didn't write this down in my notes, but I did order some more yarn from Ruby and Roses. So last year she had her Taylor Swift collection. Piper. Oh my God. She had her Taylor Swift collection last year, okay? Or maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. Time has flown. But anyway, one of the colors was Reputation, and it was this beautiful, like, multi-dimensional black yarn. And I really want a good black sweater. But at the time, I nor could afford a sweater's quantity of hand-dyed yarn, or I had never made a sweater before. So now, and granted, I still technically have never made a sweater before because I haven't finished my stripe pipe, but I feel very confident that, like, I'm not afraid of it anymore. Like, I know that I have the ability to do it. So anyway, I ordered a sweater's quantity of the Reputation colorway because she came back out with, like, I think this 5 or 6 most popular colors from when she first released the collection. So, and that was one of the colors. So I got my black yarn, and I've decided that I'm going to knit the Alchemy Pullover by Knit California. And so I'm very excited about that. I won't be casting that on until I finish my stripe pipe sweater. So that is the plan. But I am very excited about having that project in the queue. So there's that. And then my next goal is to get my sister's quilt quilted. That's gonna happen in the next couple weeks. And then her birthday's in November, so I'm just trying to make sure that I get the quilt done by her birthday. And so far, so good, because I think I'm gonna guess it's gonna take a month or so to get the quilt quilted. And while that is off getting quilted, I can order and make the binding, and then have that ready for when the quilt comes back to me, so I can ideally just get it bound and ready to be gifted. So that's that. Now, cross stitch. Cross stitch has definitely taken a back seat for me. Piper. This may not be the best time to be filming a video. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind for the future. But anyway, as far as cross stitch goes, it's taken a back seat for me basically since we've moved. Because I just have been, like, I don't know, like, moving was a whole thing, and then I got a job a lot sooner than I was expecting, which is good, but also, like, I didn't have as much free time as I guess I thought I would, because I was expecting it to take a really long time. And then on top of that, like, when I get home after work, or even, like, if I have a little bit of free time in the morning before I go to work, the easiest thing for me to pick up and do is knit. So that's just what I've been gravitating towards, because it's just a lot more convenient for me to whip it out, do a few stitches, put it away. Cross stitch for me is not as convenient because for me, I do my best cross stitching when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like locked in for a good hour or more. And I just haven't, part of it was I didn't have time because like just the after work routines, but then the other part of it was like the longer that I wasn't cross stitching, the more I was like not wanting to do it because I felt like I hadn't done it in so long that it was like, oh, I can't go back now. But I think I've pulled myself out of that by working on my New Start Sally Spencer and then pulling Castle Homecoming back out. So I'm definitely don't think I'm gonna be as prolific with my stitching as I was because, to be quite honest, I think I was getting a little bit like, I don't want to use the word, please don't stand on that. I don't want to use the word addiction lightly, but I felt like I was becoming a little too obsessed with sitting down for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time to like do as much stitching as possible. So anyway, that's not gonna probably be the rest of my year. I'm definitely probably gonna have a lot less stitching time or a lot less time spent stitching because I do like doing other things. So anyway, that's my small little rant about that. But I am feeling like my Sweet 16 goals are less and less likely to be like 100% met, but I'm still gonna work towards them anyway. So Castle Homecoming is one of them. The next one that I think I'm gonna pull out is gonna be Sampler Garden because I have 2,700 stitches left to get that to 25%. And then the rest of my, like, now granted, I do have 2 on here that are not stitching, they're FFO related. We'll see whether or not I actually end up doing those. But the rest of them are kind of like holiday themed. So I have goals for Halloween Quaker, Christmas wreath, and then just a Satsuma Mill Hill or Satsuma Street perforated paper ornament kit that are on here. So those will be fun to do when the holidays roll around. I also feel like I might like not feel as might not feel like I don't have time to stitch once I get this darn blanket done, because I feel like that's definitely like taken over my crafty time. Is I just keep feeling like I'm so close to finishing that blanket that I just keep working on it, and then I'm like, oh no, I still have this much more to go, and it's like it's almost done, but like I feel like I've been tasting it for like a month now. And that's why I really just want the blanket to be done, so I feel like I can move on and like work on some other projects that I want to be working on. So yeah, that got really long-winded. So sorry if that felt like a lot, but that's kind of where my headspace has been as far as like crafty goals are concerned. So let's move into what I've been up to. Piper's sitting on the ironing board next to me, just staring at me. She was trying to play with this, which I think is like the clip to keep the iron cord together, and I took it from her, and now she's just like staring at me, like waiting for me to give it back. I swear, she's like a toddler. But anyway, so what have I been up to? Like I have said multiple times, I did start a new job, so I've been kind of getting used to my new routine and whatnot. My previous job when I was living in Ohio was on a 4-10 schedule, so I worked 10 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. And now I'm back to an 8-hour schedule Monday through Friday. So my weekends are a lot shorter, but I have a lot more time in the evenings. So it's been a trade-off, and I'm still adjusting to it because I miss having my 3-day weekends, especially for Flosstube reasons, because I would film on my Friday off and then get it posted the next day. But now filming just feels like it's taking away time from my weekend. So I'm trying to still work out what I want to do with that, but Sunday afternoon might not be the time because Piper likes to be nosy. But yeah, so I'm still figuring that out. Another thing that I've been doing a lot more lately that I didn't really expect, but I'm really excited about, is I've been going to the gym more often. My husband loves going to the gym, and we've been going to the gym together for quite some time now, but when we first moved here, I obviously had a lot of time on my hands, so we went to the gym every single day and would spend like an hour at the gym rather than just 30 minutes. And I've been enjoying like actually doing more like weight exercises rather than just using the treadmill or the stair climber. So that's been a lot more of my evenings now, is going to the gym. I feel like I'm either at the gym or I'm at HEB. So, but yeah, but it's a good thing. Like, I'm having fun with it and I feel healthy, and no one can take that away from me. So yeah. And then, like I said, I typically do still have time after that, but it's kind of one of those things where I like to be cozy on the couch and like pull out my knitting rather than sitting at my desk stitching when I already spent 8 hours sitting at a desk at work. So yeah, but that's what I've been up to. And I want to talk about reading, watching, playing. So the first thing that I'll say, because I don't have too much to say about it, is I've been watching Wednesday on Netflix. Season 2 just came out, I guess, a few weeks ago. I think the second half came out like last week. I'm only 3 episodes into season 2. Last weekend, I spent an entire day rewatching season 1. I was like stitching and knitting while watching, but then in between the episodes, I would like do my chores, like do a load of laundry, vacuum the floor, change the sheets on the bed. So it was a very productive binging day, but I haven't been able to do that this weekend. So I've only watched 3 episodes of season 2. I'm loving it so far, and I can't wait to see what happens in the rest of the season. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was I did finish a book, I guess on Thursday, I think. But this is called Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix, and I'll pop up a cover of that here. You're gonna come out here? Come on, quit standing on my stuff, please. Okay, thank you. So anyway, I finished reading Witchcraft for Wayward Girls last week, and this book was really good. I really like Grady Hendrix, but also I kind of don't at the same time, because there are some things that I just like. There's some things where he, and it's not because he's a bad writer, it's because I'm queasy. And I'm not fully queasy, but like I can get queasy depending on what is being discussed. And there are scenes in a few of his books where he like goes into such detail that I feel like I want to vomit. And that happened for me in this book, which is really funny because the like gross thing that he was describing was a woman giving birth. So anyway, I just love how he put a horror spin on it, because honestly, like, it is pretty gruesome. Obviously, it's a beautiful thing, whatever, you're bringing life into the world, but the way he made it horror-esque is just really funny, and he did a really good job. So anyway, but essentially these girls, this book takes place in like the 70s, and these teenage girls end up pregnant, and they are kind of sent away to this home throughout their pregnancy, give birth to the baby gets put up for adoption, and then the girl goes home and pretends nothing happened, is kind of the concept. And these girls are obviously traumatized because nobody's treating them nicely because of what they've done. And so they kind of turn to witchcraft as like a way to have some freedom and independence, but it doesn't end up really going their way. So that's kind of the premise of the book. It was really good, and I will definitely read more Grady Hendrix. Okay, so that's all I had written down to talk to you guys about today. I appreciate you tuning in for another update. I'm not quite sure, realistically, or I guess in the past I would have said see you in 3 weeks, but I don't really know what 3 weeks is gonna look like for me. So I will just see you when I see you. I'm still trying to figure out the best way for me to still make these videos so that it's still fun for me and doesn't feel like a chore, because trying to find time to do everything can be difficult sometimes. So anyway, I do really like making these because I do like having, this is kind of a good check-in for me on like how I'm doing on my projects, and the progress that I'm making. So, and then it's always fun for you guys to see what I'm up to and let me know what you think about my projects and how they're going. So anyway, but yeah, so trying to still figure out a filming schedule, and I think that's about all I can say about that right now. So anyway, I thank you again for tuning in, and I will talk to you again in however much time it takes for me to meet up with you again. Okay,